my son was growing up during the Harry Potter era. So I was grateful because it was kind of past the Barney era. And so to be able to read all the books of Harry Potter, his dad read every single one with him because he liked to be read to. Then he eventually went on and read them himself. And we watched all the movies after that came out and everything. So, but there was one thing I remember is my son had a CD-ROM for Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. And so you would play this game, and he let me play it. So I'd watch him, and I'm like, oh, can I play? As your 10-year-old's playing, can I play for a little bit? No, my son was wonderful, and he let me play. And you would run around Hogwarts, right? And you had your little wand, and you'd be like collecting birdie bot beans, and which I almost have a fond memory of those, as my son used to like bite them and go, oh, here, this is a good one, and he'd give it to me. He'd bite it and he goes, oh no, this is another good one. And then I throw it in my mouth. I'm like, oh, that's vomit. Don't be tricking me. But that's, so anyway, you run around collecting the birdie bot beans and the chocolate frogs. Fortunately, you didn't have to eat any of them, right? And you would have your little wand and you'd do the Alohomora, and you would open up doors and open up windows to find the beans and the chocolate frogs, and also to throw spells on people that were trying to, evils that were trying to get you while you were running around the castle. Anyway, the Alohomora, you actually had to practice the spell, so you had to get it right when you're doing it on a thing. So I got that down, and then I just thought, I always have that inner wizard inside me now. So when I go to the mall and they have those automated doors, I step on it and I go, Alohomora. And the doors open every time. It's awesome. But I do my hands down here, and the Alohomora is like, but it's still a little audible, right? So when I'm with my partner, I'm like a little bit more, Alohomora, let me get the door for you. So that's just, channeling my inner wizard. But anyway, the game, you go through a level, and then when you finish it, it's like, yay, and then you start the next level and you go through it, you finish it, yay. And I think there was a bunch of levels, but it was so much fun. I went all the way through. Now, this is not like Pac-Man or Centipede, because some of us are old enough to remember those games, right? And at the most, I would be on the game for 3 minutes. And I'd be over, waka, 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 kung, 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 kung. I'm like, okay, forget it. I could not play those. So this was a totally a more fun adventure with these video games happening on your computer, right? So I got to the end of the game. I got to throw fireballs at Voldemort at the end till I destroyed him and I won. And then there's this kind of empty feeling like, where do I go now? I have to buy the next game, right? Which they didn't have out. So like, okay, I'll play again if you wanted to, right? That's the most I've ever played on a video game. Sometimes I like to think of life kind of as that. First, there's the afterlife. When you think of when we pass here, we just go on to the next level. Who knows, right? Maybe I get to go to Mario Brothers level 2. You don't know life after this here. But I do think sometimes it is kind of like that in the sense like when we were younger, you go through first grade and you graduate and okay, you made the first level. Then you go to second grade and you graduate that. As we make our way through high school, then if we choose to go to college, and then once we hit that, it's like life really slows down. The levels really slow down and they really extend out between stuff. And then at some point, depending on your age, it starts to speed up really quickly again. And every year is like, whoop, 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 whoop. What, I'm 63? When did that happen, right? But anyway, I think about it as a video game kind of like that with levels, but I'm really glad it is not like Pac-Man or Centipede, because I'd only be alive for 3 minutes and I'd have to start over. And, you can only learn so many lessons in 3 minutes. You just cannot. So I'm going to look at love kind of in terms of, and I made this up in terms of levels of love. I didn't pull this out of a book, but I do think it's kind of cool. And so I want to talk about 4 levels. I think there's more levels. I just didn't want to talk about, 10 levels of love because we'd be here all day and we'd have to have a big love fest afterwards. And we don't want to do that because some of us have things to do. So I kind of think of them as though like levels like from simple to more complicated. And as you develop the skills in one level, you can take those to the next level, but you're never gonna like get rid of that last level. Like you don't move to the second one and forget about level one. But I think there is a maturity from, basic to a maturity. So it's kind of building up, right, in terms of layers. So I want to talk about the 4 different kinds. And one I'm going to do first is just social kindness. And this is like public decency, just good manners. And I think about this in this day and age, if we all walked around just doing this, we would have a different world. We really would. Just the idea of saying please and thank you, greeting each other. I am a greeter. So I ride a ferry every day and I'm always like, hi. And there's some people that go like the nod. There's some people that wave back. Some of them know my name. Others are like, they're afraid. They don't know what she's talking to me for, right? But I still do it. At least they're lucky I don't run out and hug them, right? Saying goodbye, saying hello. When you walk in, I come into work every day, and every day is a new day. I see those people. So I go, hello. And they're like, why are you saying hello? Because I didn't see you until today, And I just think just doing those things. I liked the book, All I Really Need to Know, I learned in kindergarten by Robert Fulghum. And that I picked out a few of his things. Share everything. And I like that. I have a niece and a nephew that are like kindergarten and second grade. And I go over to their house once a week to hang out with them. And they're really funny because there's for them both especially, there's really like this is mine. So someone will go over and play and like, that's mine. And I'm like, you're right. And you can share it. That's the privilege that you have, right? And so it is funny that they have that so ingrained. It's mine. And then we go, but can you share it? Yeah, we all know it's yours. So get us to even acknowledge, this is yours. Could I play with it for a while? It's like, yeah, share everything. That's like a gift. You're not giving anything away. You're just giving an experience away by sharing your stuff. Don't take things that aren't yours. So do ask. Just don't grab. Don't be grabbing the clothes out of the closet that somebody else usually wears. Even if you really like it, you ask first. Play fair. Don't hit people. I say don't even flip them off, really. I mean, you get that one out of there too. Put things back where you found them. And now this is kind of me because you're starting to see the little bit of the neat freak that I am. It's like in my house, there's a place for everything. And if there is, when I'm done with it, I just put it back. But if you don't have a place for it, it starts to pile up. I dated a guy one time. I'm sorry, I wasn't going to do this, but I just came into my head. But I dated a guy one time and I came in and his place was just a mess. And I thought, what does he do? Come in and like, oh, I got to get my coat off. Oh my God. And then just drop it, right? And walk, oh, my sock, I got to get my sock off. Pull it off and fling it. Oh, my other sock is kind of, it's like as you walk around the room, there's just stuff. And I'm making fun of him. He was a great guy, but it's just kind of funny. I'm like, that's my way of making fun of it. Like, I don't get that. You go put your socks where the socks go and the coat where the coat goes. So you can see that's my own little thing, right? Clean up your mess. I try to work on that with my high school kids. I go, I'm not picking that up. Your arm ain't broke. Your leg ain't broke. And if I pick it up for you, I'm going to charge you, right? Then I think 2 of my favorites are wash your hands and flush, but I would do them in a different order. I would say flush, make sure you wash your hands, right? And then I would add these 2. Wait your turn and ask questions when you don't understand. And I think if we practiced these simple things just in whoever we met, wherever we were passing, we would have a very, very decent society. It's not about whether you like somebody or not, or whether you like the way they look or the way they speak. It's not anything about them. It's just that we do that. It's decency to all people. So that was the first level, is kind of the community social kindness. The second level I'll talk about is community building. And community building up your community, general care and concern for others. And this goes deeper than like simple gestures of kindness. It involves real acts of love. And so what does that look like? And Jasmine told me she wanted to come. So I've got her here because she has something to say. And Jasmine, if you don't know her, always has something to say about everything. Huh, Jasmine? Oh, yeah. Your stick is on your wrong hand. I know. Here. You did that on purpose.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. So what is it that you wanted to say?
Well, okay. Give me a beat.
A beat. Okay. What?
That's horrible.
I know, but I'm an old white woman. I don't really do beats.
Oh, well, here's what I suggest. You calm down, relax, and get a little more jazzy.
Okay, I'll try it. Boom, boom, chick, 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 boom, boom. Chick. What?
That's really bad.
Okay, I am so sorry.
Maybe we can get the people out there to clap.
Okay.
Like on the downbeat. Like I'll say 1 and you clap, or snap on 2.
Okay, so 1, snap, 2, clap, 1.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Keep going. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor your mother or father or your other. Rat-a-tat-a-tat-tat, rat-a-tat-tat, rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat.
Ooh.
It always protects. It always trusts. It always hopes and perseveres. Okay, stop.
Well, that was fantastic. That's like 1 Corinthians 13.
Yeah, it is. I wanted to tell you about that because this pertains to what you're saying.
Okay, well, tell us.
Well, it's not just for weddings.
Yeah, because I actually wrote a song with those lyrics. And I used it at my wedding.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's for community. It's for all of us.
Well, yeah, you're right.
If we all do these things, we will all be a better community. Right?
You are right.
Okay, and meanwhile, I'm going to go. That's all I had to say. But will you practice your beats? Because as long as you're a bad beat maker, I'll be a bad rapist.
Okay, good to know. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye!
Thank you, Jasmine. She's so wise. I just love her attitude. Now, she is absolutely right about 1 Corinthians 13. It's with one of the chapters in the Bible that really accentuates love, right? And I think we get to read it later. I saw it in the program. And again, talks about love as an action. It doesn't say love is wonderful and warm and cozy. Love makes you feel so happy, right? That is not what it says. It's all action verbs on how you're nice to people and how you are building up others, right? So again, if this was something that we focused on, we start to build community. And that's exactly what you're doing here at Unity in the Olympics. You're building community and you're practicing these things as you are among each other. When you go to work, you can do the same thing because that is also a community. Or if you're helping out in some organization, that is also a community. So we don't have to save it for just the special people. Everywhere we go, we can contribute these qualities of love to all people. At my school, when a student is having a hard day and somebody notices it, they send an email out to everybody. Now realize there's only 8 teachers at my school. So it's not like 125 people know, right? So there's the 8 teachers and they just send out a thing that says, so-and-so is having a hard day, handle with care. And that's all they say. And so you know that when that kid comes in to your room and to your classroom that, well, maybe give them a little bit more room. Maybe they don't feel like doing work that day. And I love it that they do that, but I also think I do that every day with all my students. I try to handle my students every day with care. Now, there are sometimes I make mistakes, I can guarantee that, and I irritate kids. But for the most part, it's like our kids have come from so many traumatic backgrounds in the sense of being homeless, not having enough food to eat, having parents, again, that are addicts and stuff like that. So I try to have that kind of theory working with my kids all the time. Its idea of extending my hand of love to every student that walks in the door. But I love it that our school has that attitude as a whole school. So that's the second one, community building. So, and you can see how they're kind of evolving, right? They're getting a little bit more complex. So this one, I don't know if it's more complex, but it does change a little bit. And it's what I would call an individual level, where you focus on a specific person and their specific needs. So, and in order to meet the specific needs of any person, you have to know the person. So this is the difference. When all of a sudden I'm part of a community and I can love the community, right? But if I want to really address the specific needs of somebody, I need to get to know them. What makes them tick? Again, our district has this policy that we want to know every student by name, strength, and need. And so after school, we always have like a little short meeting where we all meet as a staff. We'll pick one student and we'll talk about their strengths and their needs. And the point there is, again, it's like, I'm going to be a better teacher for my students by knowing them. I know which ones don't like to type, or which ones don't like to read, or which ones just are dealing with anxiety, right? We have quite a few students like that. And I know where to place them in the classroom. And I have couches in my classroom and big scoopy chairs so people can find places that they're comfortable sitting in. So I love that about our district, having that. Another example that I do in one of my career classes is the 5 love languages, which I think probably a lot of people have read that book before, the 5 love languages. And if you haven't, it's a quick read by Gary Chapman. I'm just going to briefly touch on it. There's words of affirmation. So saying nice things to people. Acts of service, doing stuff for others. That's the technical word, doing stuff for others, the term. Giving of gifts. Quality time, spending quality time with each other. And the 5th one is physical touch. Now, for me, I love to give words of affirmation. So I do that very naturally. So it fits very well with the school that I work at. Fits very well with my partner because my partner really likes to hear words of affirmation. But I found as I did this is one of the ones that I want to give is not necessarily the one I want. What I would rather, for me, the highest thing is quality time. So if somebody I care about will spend time with me, that is really significant. That is the one I want to get. But the one that's really easy for me to give, that I want to give, is the affirmation, words of affirmation. I think that's really interesting. So my partner, though, he likes to give gifts and acts of service. So when he goes out and changes my lights in my car, puts on the new windshield wipers, I love it. Last night he made me a grilled cheese sandwich. I love it. So the fact that he does, that he really enjoys doing that for people. And so I think he has 2, because the other one is really giving of gifts, but the giving of gifts is food. And more specifically, baked goods. So before I met him, I was kind of on a no sugar diet. And then I met this guy who gave me lots of fresh cupcakes. Now, if you're dating somebody and they're giving you fresh cupcakes, do you think you don't eat those? You eat those cupcakes. So I have gained my few plus pounds. And I'm happy for it, you know? But it was cool when I read this, because then I thought, oh, that is when he does that, he's telling me he loves me. That's his way. And so maybe it's not my top way of doing things, right? Or what I really want from something. But I have to in my head, reframe it, go, oh, he loves me. He's telling me he loves me. And if I want to spend quality time with him, then I would say, hey, Fred, let's go do this. And because he likes to give, he will say yes, right? So it's just figuring out, how do you work with each other when you're with somebody close to you and you don't have the same love language? You have to know each other so that you can specifically meet each other's needs, or your needs are being met when you don't notice that it's happening. You realize, oh, they really do love me. There's a survey online, so you can take the survey if you want to on that, on the love languages. But I think the challenge in anything like that's in a partnership of even leadership of a church, right? You spend way too much time with each other. Not too much time, but think of it as every time you're with them, it's like you're learning something about them. How do you embrace that, even if it's something you don't agree with? So what is it that they need? Like I had a student get so angry at me, and I realized, I go, he's not angry at me. He's carrying all the stuff with him, and I did something, and all that baggage that he's carrying with him is what's making him really pissed off at me. But I get that, right? So when he says mean things to me, I'm like, yeah, it's not acceptable. We're gonna say you can't say those things, but I don't have to take it personally and go, oh man, I'm such a loser or whatever, or he's such a loser. Nothing like that. So I'm gonna move to the fourth level. You're like, whew. It's the sacrificing level. Now I'm not saying sacrificial. I'm talking about sacrificing, and I'm talking about sacrificing something that is significant. You're sacrificing significant time or significant money for a significant need. So there are times that we like, oh yeah, we'll just do that for them and do that. I'll just giving that up. I sacrificed all this stuff. And sometimes it's not really the thing we should be sacrificing because we are empowering them to continue their bad behaviors. And I think about, you think about if you had kids, or I'm just going to go with kids at the moment, and you think, okay, how do I not empower them to carry on? So like with my kid, I feel really bad. Okay, not really, but I'd say, okay, here's your chores. You could, dust today, or pick, two things. And he's like, I don't want to do those. And I'm like, oh, well then you can do both of them. And did he ever complain again? He never complained again. Now I could have thought, oh, I'm sorry, no, I get it. But no, it's like, no, now you can do both. And I thought, oh, that's that little part in there. But I'm like, no, I'm trying to get him to embrace something new in terms of doing chores. And it got, we negotiated. He finally said, well, Mom, can I do laundry? Yeah, 10-year-old go and do laundry. I love it. That's great. I will dust. You do the laundry, so you could still negotiate with that. But the thing about this kind of sacrifice is you don't walk away feeling bad or sad for what you gave up. And so I'm going to give a couple examples. For instance, there are a lot of people that hid the Jews during the Holocaust. And so they were sacrificing their life, their time, their resources, their reputation. There's a lot of things they were sacrificing. And sometimes they got caught and they did get killed. And those that they were hiding got killed as well. But they were sacrificing they had great sacrifices for something that was greatly needed. The Underground Railroad, freeing slaves in the South. Again, people sacrificed their time and their money. They sacrificed their security. And so that they put themselves in ways of danger for a need to end slavery. And I kind of think, well, okay, but are those things really happening now? There's always inequality, right? In the world, there is always inequality, unfairnesses, injustices. So there is things out there that we can contribute to in terms of sacrificing resources or time for big needs that are out there. I'm going to close with this in the sense that I'm doing a unit right now on economic disparity with my students, and we are covering housing disparity, gentrification, like what's a lot happening in West Seattle and Ballard, several places like that, and racial disparity. So the inequalities in those areas, and my students are 80% BIPOC, which is Black, Indigenous people of color. And the other 20% are still my whole school is 100% free lunch. So it's that high percentage. The whole district's something like 70%. So there's a lot of low economic there. And so in some ways it feels, like I'm showing them. But I want them to see what's bigger than they are, that they aren't just in this spot. It's like, this is nationwide. You'll find these things everywhere. And we go into the housing disparity and look at the old, so they're watching videos on the whole redlining when they, and steering of getting the black people to move in this community, but not in this community because the white people over here. And then if they move, and then it's like, okay, how do we move the white people out quickly? And the values go down, and it's just absolutely sickening. But the thing that I guess is really sickening to me is that it still is continuing on. And so I thought that was something of the past. And as I did my research, I'm like, oh my gosh, this stuff is still happening. And it's happening in Seattle. Like, when you think of the gentrification of West Seattle and getting, and even Burien, where I work in that Burien, prices have gone so much up that people that are in their houses renting all of a sudden can't afford their rentals. So they're having to pack up and move. And they can't live in the area, so they're moving further south. And so our school district actually is shrinking. And then Auburn and stuff is starting to bloom. And how long will that be before that changes out, right? And so again, it's all around trying to separate people in economic classes or races and stuff like that. So what can we do? Well, I want to showing my kids, and as we go through these videos and have conversations, their job is actually to pick a project. They're going to pick an event or put on a workshop or do kind of video or something that they're going to respond to this by educating or doing something to make a difference somewhere. I don't know what they're going to come up with, but this is what's going to be coming up. But meanwhile, while this is happening, I did something, and I wasn't expecting it. So as a teacher, I'm part of the Highline Education Association, the Washington Education Association, and the National Education Association, okay? And I was thought it'd be kind of fun to get into like politics for the mere idea of affecting policy making and stuff. So we had to vote a couple of weeks ago. It came to a vote for the Washington Education Association and National. And I'm just gonna, I always like to vote. I think that I should, it's my right and it's my privilege, so I'm gonna do them both. So I'm looking on the Washington Education Association under 2-year commitment, and there are 6 write-in spots. 6 of them. Now, if there's 1, maybe not, but there's 6. Are there going to be 6 people out there that are going to write themselves in? I don't know, but I'm going to write myself in. So I put it in the 2-year because I figure, people might do the 1 year, but I'll go for the 2-year. And then I emailed like 10 of my friends. And I know I got at least 4 votes. But I got the call the next day that, you are now a representative on the Washington Education Association. And we have our first big thing in Spokane, and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, because I'm not going to run. I don't want to spend my time running on something and not win. The same like when you're looking for a job. You spend all this time going and interviewing and you don't get it. It's like, to me, it's like you have to, but it still feels like a waste of time. So running, I'm like, I just write myself in, get some friends, and I'm a representative, right? But I kind of think, I don't even know what that's going to look like, but I know that my attitude is very much about how do I make education more anti-racist in its practices. And that's what I want to be a part of. Policy making. How do we empower more teachers of color to come on? I don't know if I get to do any of that or not, but I'm going to find a way if I possibly can. So putting all those levels together, if you're talking about social kindness, community building, individual needs, and also the idea of sacrificing love. If you put all those things together, those levels together, I think it makes for a really beautiful world. In closing, I want to do a song called Grace to You. Just grace is one of those best parts of love, right? Yeah, Jasmine, you have to move. Sorry. She's going to lay on the floor. She likes to lay on the floor. And these songs are all songs I've written. Winter cold is bitter, so are the words that cut you down. I recall times times when I felt small, through the seasons of my life. And in the cold I've wandered a mile or two alone. Somebody sees, then turns a back on me. Ah, but revenge will not be mine. Grace to you, grace to you. I will reach out my hand, I turn my cheek when I've been wronged again. Grace to you and grace to you in the seasons that fall. I will extend the hand of love. The blazing sun burns like fire in places where nobody cares. And like the sun, ones that I have loved have burned my heart carelessly. But grace to you, grace to you, I will reach out my hand, I turn my cheek when I've been wronged again. Yes, grace to you and grace to you in the seasons that fall. I will extend the hand of love. I will extend the hand of God. I will extend the hand of love. Grace to you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's move into a time of meditation and just make yourself comfortable. Sitting, if you're at home, you're welcome to lay down, it's fine. Just breathe. Notice your breathing and breathe in and breathe out. As you breathe in, realize that is the life force that is given you. That life force is there to energize you, to support you. I'm going to take you on a different kind of meditation, and it's going to be kind of a physical feeling one where I want you to step into some kind of hot springs where you can find yourself comfortable. Just imagine yourself sitting in there on a rock shelf with your arms up or in the warm water, and just feel that warm water just surrounding you. Maybe it's cold outside, maybe it's not, but you can still breathe in that fresh air, surrounded by this warmth. This warmth is the grace of God surrounding you, being part of you, warming you. Just enjoy that warmth, enjoy that grace. And as you are ready, I want you to slowly step out of that. And as you step out, somebody's going to wrap a big warm towel around you. And you just wrap that big fuzzy warm towel all the way around you. Just feel it from your ankles all the way up and over your shoulders. This is the peace of God surrounding you. it enfolds you. It is part of you. And even if you don't have the towel with you, that piece does not leave. When you're ready, I want you to take that towel off and put on a robe, a bright robe, any kind of robe you want. It doesn't matter. It's a pants robe, whatever, something that's just colorful and bright and that makes you smile. And if a black robe makes you smile or a yellow robe, whatever, put that on. Again, it's comfortable. And this bright thing is the joy of God that again enfolds you and surrounds you, covering you. Just breathe in that joy. You can always come back to this when you're someplace to either be in that warm springs or wrapped in that towel or robed in that colorful robe to re-experience the grace, the peace, or the joy of God. These are the gifts to us. These are the gifts we have that we can share with all people. And when you're ready, go ahead and just come back to the room and open your eyes. And so it is.